All right, thank you very much, viewers, and welcome to the Energy Spectrum Show. Today, we are discussing the Strait of Hormuz, the complexities of building redundancy at scale. And to help us discuss this very critical topic is a seasoned journalist from the United States of America. He has been in the industry for over a decade. He is a 5-time winner of the Society of Professional Journalists Award. We are looking to receiving or winning the sixth one to make it complete. So my guest who is joining us online is Brian Gottlieb. Brian Gottlieb has covered in reports on so many industries, spanning energy, construction, law, finance. Brian, thank you very much for joining us today on the Energy Spectrum Show. I don't know what did I leave from the intro. You can add on and we get started.
Well, thank you for having me. I covered construction in the various subsectors for longer than maybe some of your viewers have even been around. But yeah, the current situation in the Middle East is. And I know that the term unprecedented gets used a lot.
Yes.
But currently, the world energy markets have not seen anything like this, and there's no indication that things will return to normal anytime soon, even if the United States, Israel, and Iran were able to hash out a deal tomorrow to open the strait back up.
Great.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Before we start, give us a little history about the Strait of Hormuz. How critical it is to the energy industry. And then why is it that we can't have a bypass or a possible route, for some time?
Sure. Well, so the Strait of Hormuz is a very narrow channelway that leads from the Persian Gulf into the Gulf of Oman and then into the ocean.
Yes.
And it's essentially, it is the choke point that that the world is now experiencing nearly unprecedented levels of disruption that are even greater than the energy crisis of the early 1970s. So to give your listeners and watchers a little bit of perspective, about 20 million barrels a day typically pass through the strait, and traffic has all but ceased over the course of the last 6 weeks.
Yes.
In terms of alternatives to the strait, as you had mentioned, Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the UAE have each built their own above-ground pipelines.
Yes.
To act as a short-term backstop.
Yes.
In the event of a disruption.
Yes.
But to replace whole scale the amount of petrochemicals, not just oil. Yes. Talking about fertilizers, metal, so on and so forth.
Yes.
It is a decision was made. Yes. That it would it would not be scalable economically to do something like that. And as we've seen over these last several weeks of war, all of that redundancy is only as good as it is hardened, and all it takes is one missile strike to shut down an entire production facility.
Great.
Which goes into a different discussion about the concentration of facilities in one spot.
Well, so I mean, so it means this tells how critical the Strait of Hormuz is. With 20% of the oil the world consumes coming from the strait. But there are other strategic waterways where the world can look at or can say that, look, we need to have some really good discussion and take advantage of such routes or such waterways. There's the Bab el Baneb or something, and then there are other straits. Why can't the world develop such waterways strategically, and then decrease the reliance on the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, theoretically, it's possible, but while there may be other waterways, you also have to look at where the export terminals are located.
Great.
And majority of the export terminals are in the Persian Gulf, right by the Strait of Hormuz, versus, say, on the eastern side of the peninsula where the Red Sea is. And as we've seen, those export terminals are vulnerable to attack as well. So I don't see an alternative waterway system. Now, interestingly, Jordan has recently signed an agreement with the UAE to develop a rail network system to take minerals and other land-based energy products by rail to the port of Aqaba, which currently Jordan relies mainly on road networks, which are both less efficient and more carbon heavy. Of course, it'll take a while to build out those rail networks, but you are seeing alternatives starting to develop in an effort to not be so trapped by geopolitical events.
Great. We will talk about your article on the Strait of Hormuz, but in a nutshell, systematically, what are the complexities that make the Strait of Hormuz an impossible waterway that we can bypass or we can ignore? Systematically, what is it? What actually is the issue? Is it funding? Is it about technology? Is it about the technical know-how? Or what really is the issue?
Well, again, the issue is the cost-benefit analysis of trying to build land routes to avoid using the strait, because currently Saudi Arabia has the ability to transport. I don't know. I don't know. You'll forget, I don't have these numbers directly in front of me, but I believe total overland bypass capacity right now is somewhere between 4 to 5 million barrels a day. They calculated back in the early 1980s when these pipelines were first developed that A, the strait wouldn't be closed, and B, if it was closed, it would be a very short-term disruption. As we've seen, it's now been 6 weeks, and the strait is all but closed. It's not a technology issue as much as it's a cost issue. The cost to build land routes, it doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not a geopolitical analyst, so I can't tell you when this issue is going to be resolved. But it will be resolved at some point because, either the combatants are going to hammer out a deal, or the world will eventually not stand for the inability of economies to function. And I don't want to speculate on what ifs. But just getting back to your original question, it's never been a question of if it could be done. It's does it need to be done? And as we were discussing before we came on air, you can only harden above ground infrastructure so much. These facilities are vulnerable to attack. And then the next question would be, why don't we bury these transport lines? Well, when you start to bury those transport lines, you're not only adding to the cost of an infrastructure build out, but it's much harder to maintain them should there be a breach in the line. And then you have an environmental disaster.
Great.
So, there is no alternative other than for the combatants to figure it out through political mechanisms.
Well, that's interesting. Now, I want you to talk a little about your article that you wrote on the 3rd of March concerning the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the viewers, you can Google the article and then read on that. The title is Hormuz Bypass Infrastructure was sized for a short disruption. This is not that. And then I love the intro. Now, he says that for 4 decades, Gulf oil producers made a calculated infrastructure bet. Any closure of the Strait of Hormuz will be temporary, and that partial bypass capacity enough to bleed off pressure for days or weeks as sufficient insurance. Now, Brian, what came to mind when you were writing this article on the Strait of Hormuz?
What came to mind was, and this was written in the beginning of March, we're now approaching the end of April.
Yes.
I really thought that, or was hoping, this issue would be resolved by now.
Yes.
But what came to mind is it made sense you know, to try to try and geoengineer
Yeah.
a land routes
Mm.
versus using water routes
Mm.
is both costly and time consuming.
Mm.
And when these land routes, when these redundancies were built in, they were built in for, as you had quoted, a very short disruption,
Yes.
not even taking into account,
Mm.
A possible war. It
Yeah.
was more if something happened that prevented the use of transport for any given number of reasons.
Mm.
Um, it, it, I guess what came to mind really was that there's a reason politics
Mm.
exists over war, because in war nobody wins.
Mm.
And that's why I've heard the quote, and you'll forgive me, I can't remember who to attribute it to. I want to say it was from the Art of War.
Mm.
That war is politics by other means.
Mm.
I thought it was. I learned a lot in reporting on it.
Mm.
That we have to rely upon the ability to negotiate and find common ground, because to build our way out of a situation like this is it as much money as the Gulf states have.
Mm.
They wouldn't spend the money on that, which is telling. Which I think is probably a leading indicator of how expensive it would be to engineer an alternative to the strait.
Mm. Mm. Now, lastly, earlier this week, the IEA chief, Faith Bureau, described the situation of the Strait of Hormuz as the strait has lost its characteristics as the most critical waterway. Do you agree with him?
Well, I don't know in what context he was referring to, but just that statement taken on its face, to me, doesn't necessarily make sense, because I'm not sure what the cost of petrol is where you are, but in America, where we are largely insulated from the spikes in consumer petrol, certainly I've heard reports that within the next 3 weeks, many European capitals are going to run out of jet fuel. So I'm not sure that the Strait of Hormuz has lost its stick as one of the most critical waterways if you have planes sitting on tarmacs in Paris, London, and Berlin.
All right, that's interesting. Lastly, you are not a political scientist or something, but where do you see this war? Are we going to have a peace deal or something very soon? Because almost all economies are taking the hit. Here in Ghana, fuel prices have increased for more than 20%. It was 11 cities, Ghana cities, right? Right now we are buying it at more than 16 cities. So are we going to see an end to this war so that we can have a free flow of vessels to and from the Strait of Hormuz?
Oh, Akwasi. If I could answer that question with any amount of certainty, you and I would be playing the lotto instead of talking here online. I can offer my hope and desire that this situation gets resolved soon. There has not been a lot of discussion here in America from the White House on why these actions have taken place, what the goals and the justifications have bounced around. In my opinion, I think that the American president has seen that what was thought to perhaps be a real swift action, like people saw take place in Venezuela. This is not Venezuela, and
Exactly.
You have America's European partners sitting this out. I think that anyone who gives a prognostication with any amount of certainty, they're either smarter and no more than me, or it's that old phrase, "Fools rush in where angels fear to tread." I want to believe that it will be resolved sooner than later.
Yes.
I don't know how much sooner. If we're we've just approached spring, if within the next quarter we are still at the same place we are now, I'm not quite sure what the world will look like. So, given the uncertainty, I think certainly the United States has an incentive to try and find a way to reopen the strait, ensure safe passage, and also prevent the Islamic Republic from threatening its regional neighbors and their infrastructure, which I think the world can't argue that safe passage and protected infrastructure are worthy goals to achieve.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. It's been a wonderful discussion. We hope to come your way in the next few weeks or so. You have given us a very insightful explanation concerning the complexities of building redundancy at scale with regards to the Strait of Hormuz. We've known that it is hard to replace the Strait of Hormuz, if I should put it that way. So thank you very much for your time, and we will see you again, hopefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Akwasi. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Right, viewers, this is the end of the show. We hope to come your way again with another insightful discussion on energy matters. This is the Energy Spectrum Show. It is Africa-inspired, but globally connected. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for joining us.